Wow.
I'm surprised we're not seeing more girls yet. They've opened it up.
What are you gonna do? Think it's working. Oh. No, actually, I didn't. You know what, Levy did that.
No. The good-looking guy up there is.
As long as you can say old fart, because then they would know who you're talking about.
She's like, well,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sierra Vista City Council meeting for 26 September 2019. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Rick Mueller,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Rachel Gray, Councilmember William Benning,
Present.
Councilmember Gwen Calhoun,
Present.
Councilmember Sarah Pacheco, Councilmember Carolyn Humphrey,
present.
Councilmember Christine Wolf. Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Yes, thank you. I would expect that Ms. Gray and Ms. Pacheco would be here shortly. I do like to start at 5, so they may be a little bit late getting in. Tonight we'll start as we usually do with the invocation. I don't see Father McClure out here, so the invocation tonight will be led by Gwen Calhoun, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by the mayor.
Oh, okay.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Mrs. Calhoun. Item number 1 is the acceptance of the agenda. Mr. Benning.
Mayor Mueller, excuse me. I move that the agenda for the regular city council meeting of September 26, 2019 be approved as written.
Second.
Is moved and second. Any additions, corrections? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now go to the city manager's report. Mr. Patuchik.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Mueller, members of council. Our next regularly scheduled work session is scheduled for Tuesday, October 8th, 3 p.m. And right now, we plan to have that downstairs in the conference room. A few projects tonight, the invitation to bid for Avenida Escuela Extension improvements, or the bridge over Avenida Escuela to the Domingo Paez complex. The engineering services for that is due on October 23rd, 2019. So at long last, we're finally getting that one going, and I think that will be a good thing for the community as we move forward. We have a request for quotes for Kings Court cleanup, and that's been posted, and quotes will be accepted until October 4th at noon. So we'll be looking at doing some cleanup there at Kings Court. We have a health insurance broker consultant services RFP out, and those bids are scheduled to be open on October 16th at noon. And then finally, our invitation to bid for our CDBG-funded maintenance yard demolition project was awarded to the firm of BR Contractors, and that was for approximately $80,000. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you, Mayor Mueller.
Thank you, Mr. Patuchik. Any questions for Mr. Patuchik on his report? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item number 2 is the consent agenda. Ms. Humphrey, you can take a breath as you go through this. There's quite a few items there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the consent agenda consisting of the City Council regular meeting minutes of September 12th, 2019, City Council special meeting minutes of September 17th, 2019, Resolution 2019-076, acceptance of the resignation of Linda Nichols with regret, and appointment of Debbie Perkinson to the Employee Benefit Trust, said term to expire December 31st, 2021, and Resolution 2019-077, appointment of Jennifer Doris to the Arts and Humanities Commission, said term to expire December 31st, 2021, be approved.
I second.
It's been moved and second. I'll just note for the record, Ms. Pacheco is now here. Discussion. Questions? Seeing none. I'll mention the Mayor Pro Tem is also here. Seeing none, I'll call for the question on item number 2. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now go to item number 3. And do I have a motion to remove the item from the table? Seeing no motion, we'll continue to carry this on the agenda until such time as we're able to discuss the modification of the refuse schedule and fees. All right, under new business, item number 4, Mrs. Calhoun.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2019-078, authorization to accept Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety Grant Funding, contract number 2020-AL-033, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Chief Thrasherman, we have the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The item before you is a grant from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety to enhance DUI and impaired driving enforcement within the Sierra Vista area. The grant pays for overtime and employee-related expenses. Overtime in the amount of $21,429 and employee-related expenses in the amount of $8,571. This grant allows the Sierra Vista Police Department to participate in the Southeastern Arizona DUI Task Force on their saturation deployments and also participate in the MAD Victim Impact Panels to pay the officers overtime to participate in those events. Just for your information, the DUI Task Force holds 13 deployments throughout the county, 9 of which happen in the Sierra Vista area, and we assign 2 to 3 officers to each of those deployments under this grant. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the chief?
I think we answered the questions at the work session.
Yeah, we had kind of an in-depth discussion, education process with the chief at the work session. Okay, so if nothing else is there, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now go on to item number 5, Ms. Pacheco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2019-079, approval of Pablo Alonso's design due to receiving the highest ranking in the evaluation process, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. McLaughlin.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this meeting marks the culmination of a 2+ month procurement process to arrive at a proposed mural design for the 40-foot tall water storage tank located on the southeast corner of Denman Avenue and Canyon Drive in the Fry Townsite neighborhood. The project is intended to inject color and vibrancy to the surrounding area and serve as a focal point and positive identity feature for the neighborhood. A week ago Monday, the Arts and Humanities Commission, and together with members of the West End Commission, met to consider and rank the proposals and provide a recommendation to you. The top 2 finalists were separated by just over 1 point. At your work session, you heard presentations from each artist, and now we're asking you to either affirm the Arts and Humanities Commission recommendation of Pablo Alonso as providing the resolution before you, or amend the resolution to select Carrie Olahe's artwork as the winning design. The artist you select will receive a $500 honorarium for the winning design. While Liberty Utilities has approval rights on the final design, they have elected to defer any decision to the city's civic leaders, finding both artists' proposals to be acceptable. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions for Matt before we got one member of the public who wants to address this, so any questions for Matt before we do that? Okay, Ms. Mackey.
Mr. Mayor, council members. My reason for being here is basically to thank the Arts and Humanities Commission for allowing the West End Commission to participate in the selection process of these murals. It was just another opportunity for 2 commissions to collaborate It was a time to get to know each other and find that we all have that same vision for the West End. And I believe that we all learned a whole lot about how a mural is put together and how they can accomplish it. We had a taste of that with Joanne Barry's first mural on CenturyLink. We did our evaluations, and it took a little while, but we pulled it together. They did the tallies, and when they were talking, or when they were taking the tallies, we were talking amongst ourselves, and we found that most of us were all thinking along the same lines, and it's the top two artists, Pablo Alonso, and I cannot remember the young lady's name that did the hummingbirds, but we all liked that one. One of the reasons, too, that I'm here is because I want to tell you how it affected me seeing these two. The Pablo Alonso's abstract design was a lot of angles and a lot of color and different hues of colors, and it touched me in a way, and this may sound hokey to you, but it felt like a phoenix, like Fry Township was rising from the ashes. And that's how significant it was to me. And when I mentioned that to some of the other commissioners, several of them had the same feeling. I'm not discounting the hummingbirds. I think it was a beautiful, beautiful art piece. I've never seen hummingbirds that big, and I think it'd be wonderful to put one on a tower. But my preference is that I really do like this abstract. I want to thank Matt McLaughlin and Carolyn Humphreys for coordinating and organizing and helping this collaboration. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Mackey. Now we'll go on to council discussion.
I noticed I have a couple arts and, along with Rosie, I have a couple arts and humanities commissions present, and I want to thank them for being here. They're following through with seeing this project to completion. So, and I want to thank them in person for all their patience on that night that and Laura's again, and Matt was there the whole time, and Emily from Parks and Leisure, and it really was a great collaboration. I was so happy that everyone got along, and there was a rapport right away, and just wanted to share that and thank them for following the very strict evaluation criteria and coming to that decision. So thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Any other discussion? Okay, then we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Well, let's get the favorable count first. All those in favor? Opposed?
I think I'm opposed, yeah. I'll leave.
Okay, so it's 3-3. What I would ask is there anyone willing to amend the motion to have the project by Ms. Olahe? Olahe.
Say it.
Just Ms. Olahe. What you need to do is just amend the motion to select the project by Ms. Olahe.
Yeah, we're still tied though, aren't we?
Well, it's tied. Tied is nothing. You don't. There's no.
Tie is a failure.
The mission.
The tie vote is a failure of the motion.
Yeah, the motion has failed with a tie vote.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we amend Resolution 2001-9079, ma'am,
Let him make his motion.
to approve Carrie Olahe's design as the second highest ranking in the evaluation process be approved.
Do I have a second on the amendment?
I'd second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, just the city manager is saying we can't amend it. It has
Oh,
to be a new motion.
No.
Am I correct?
I just conferred with the city attorney, and he said since it's on the agenda, you can proceed.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I checked it out before
Okay,
I
I
opened my
was
big
just-
mouth
he was-
for a change.
He was shaking his head,
Okay.
so.
I didn't think so originally,
Yeah,
but Nathan
okay.
says it's fine.
Any discussion? I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It passes 4-2. So congratulations to Ms. Olahe. I just want to thank all the participants who submitted drawings for this, for the competition. And it was a close one between Mr. Alonso and Mrs. Olaha. So, Olahe. And I'm sure there will be plenty of opportunities in the future for art in public places. So I would encourage everybody to participate in those future events as well. So with that being said, we'll go to call the public. We have a couple of folks that have signed up to address us on call to the public. Under call to the public, you have 5 minutes to speak. We have a light system here where it starts out and it'll go down to yellow and then red, and that tells you your 5 minutes up. And the first person tonight is Mrs. Jan Groth. Jan?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council and other city officials and leaders. My name is Jan Groth, and I'm here as the program coordinator for the Master Gardeners for Cochise County, from working under University of Arizona here in Sierra Vista with Cooperative Extension. And one of our big pet projects that we have been in development of the Discovery Gardens over at the U of A campus. And we opened to the public in October of 2017. So these gardens serve what we think is a wonderful purpose to our entire community and all over the county. We host visitors, daily visitors that walk in for information, for motivation, even just for quiet walks, or they bring their lunch. We have lots of events there. We have private events. We do monthly workshops. But one of the biggest things that's happened in the Discovery Gardens is that we issued a mass invitation to all the schools of Cochise County about 1.5 years ago to come over to our gardens for a 3-hour field trip. And we do that in conjunction with the UA South Foundation. So they spend half the time in the gardens, half the time over at the Patterson Observatory, and then midway through we swap. We give them lessons in pollinators and gardening and soil and seeds and good bugs, bad bugs, and pond life, and hopefully they all go away with some sort of a motivation and more lessons. So what I'd love to know, I want so many people in the city to know that that's there and know that it's there for everyone in the community. And I began to realize that I would love for the city people to know, all members of the city government, the county government, members of public safety, all of that, to know that those gardens are there. So therefore, and many of you might have already gotten the email. Jennifer Osborne sent the email out for us this week. We're just going to have an open house. We're calling it Open Gardens on Friday, October the 4th. We'll be there from 3 to 6. We'll just have real light snacks, some beverages, some snacks. Stop by 3 minutes, stay 20 minutes, ask questions. I just want the city people to see what is there for our community. It's another added benefit for our community members from all over the county. So thank you for letting me speak. That's our open invitation. We hope to see many of you there. Okay,
Thank you, Jan. I want to mention the Master Gardeners has always been an active part of our community, and they've done a lot of things. They have a great history working with the city as well as other agencies, and we want to thank you for everything you do for the city.
Well, you're welcome, and we hope that when everybody comes in, that they see that this is a wonderful new asset for the community. So thank you all. Okay.
Thank you. We have another person named Michael Melcher. Again, sir, you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I came here today to discuss a thing called squatters. I came here to address the council about my situation with having a offender squatter on my property. When I tried to place a report for trespassing, I was told it was a civil matter, and I was denied entry onto my property with proper standby so that I could get a report from a sworn officer stating that he had no lease agreement. We notified the probation department that the violator was unwanted on the property and was in violation of their policy set by their supervisors to maintain an address. They said that he was a tenant, so we couldn't move him as a squatter. So basically what they told me was I showed them proof several times that payment didn't get paid, and I wanted them to remove the violator off the premises. I came here to speak on my behalf and to gather more information on squatters, because the state's law says that to evict a squatter, you must contact the police to file a report of trespassing and not tell us that it's a civil matter when we're trying to do that. So can you please direct me to where I can properly handle this situation? And may I add, the meters were removed from the property, so they do qualify as squatters.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. Chief or Matt, which one of you guys would handle this situation?
That would be me. I'm very familiar with the situation, so I'll talk with them
You
afterwards.
talk with them afterwards and then let me know what the resolution is.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One of the problems we have to call to the public is we're not supposed to discuss the issue because there may be somebody, your squatter may have a different opinion and he's not here tonight since we didn't publish it, so we would be violating state law if we did that. So please get with the chief.
Yes, sir.
And I'll do a follow-up.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay, we're now ready for comments and requests of council. We'll start tonight with Mrs. Calhoun.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I have several things. First of all, I really want to thank Ms. Groth, Jan, for coming to invite us tonight. I have a lot of personal experience with the Discovery Gardens, and I cannot say, I don't have all the words to say what a wonderful asset this is for the community. It's turned into what I call a destination because anybody who comes to my home, even people who live here, I find a way to get them out to the gardens to show them not only how beautiful the few people who work on that garden, and Jan must put 1,000 hours a week in there, what a beautiful place it is, but also it gave me the confidence to do more planting in my property just by talking to the folks that help out over there and Jan's expert opinion about various things. So, and it's also, I think you might have mentioned, a great place to have gatherings and to sit and contemplate life. Sorry, I'm being dramatic. But it is a wonderful place to be, and I hope folks who work at the city, we received this very special invitation, can take a few minutes at the end of their day on, it's a Friday, right? Friday the 4th, to stop by there and see what a great place it is if you haven't already been. I also wanted to make a comment, and so thanks again, Jan, for coming by. I also wanted to comment about the county fair. I was there today. And oh my gosh, I've gone many times for 4-H, but this time I actually, because the judging was on the same day as it opened, I was able to spend more time with the animals. And I really have to say, if you have an opportunity to take your kids or yourself out there and wander through, I mean, the 4-H hands-on stuff is really wonderful, but to watch these young kids deal with these animals is just amazing. From the rabbits and chickens and ducks to those great big overgrown cows. And some of the folks might even let you pet the cows, which was an exciting experience for me because I don't have a lot of cows in my life. But the sheep, the cow, I didn't see sheep, but the goats and the cows were just amazing. And county fair and 4-H is amazing. And we don't have a lot of that in Sierra Vista, but it's just a few miles down the road to go to Douglas. I do believe we have 2 families from Hereford whose kids have animals at the fair, and so there's a little bit of home touch there. And let me see. And there was also a section that was school kids who maybe aren't 4-Hers, but just do these projects who submit them to the county fair. And I believe I saw ones from the Colonel Smith School. And I apologize if I'm not calling out any of the actual in-town Sierra Vista schools, but I know Colonel Smith School was there. So that was also fantastic. One other, well, maybe 2. Cochise Celebrates Giving is an event being held October 3rd at Cochise College. And Cochise Celebrates Giving is the Legacy Foundation and the Arizona Community Foundation presenting grants to many of our nonprofits in the area, not just in Sierra Vista, but the area. Graham Green, Cochise, maybe Santa Cruz County. I think just Graham, Greenlee, and Cochise. But you all are aware of all the important work that our NPOs do, that our nonprofits do, and this is a great way to go in and thank them for what. and see them receive their grant awards. And I want to welcome Debbie Perkinson to the Arts and Humanities Commission. Nope, that's wrong. Which one was she?
Employee Benefit Trust.
Was she leaving? Oh, she was the Employee Benefit Trust. And welcome Jennifer Doris to Arts and Humanities. It's, I know these things take extra time in people's lives, and we very much appreciate that people are willing to give their extra time to these commission and the other one. And finally, thanks for saying so. Where'd your name go? Rosie. But I also wanted to comment about the collaboration between the two commissions. This is really a wonderful thing for our community. It's not the first time and it won't be the last, but it's always great to see the commissions coming together to do the good things that they do separately, come together to do them for the city. So I believe that covers everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Calhoun. Mr. Benning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do know at the county fair tomorrow, they have a cow milking contest in the morning. So if you want to see some of your local officials out there milking cows, that's, no ma'am, I get to go judge and watch. But I want to also thank or welcome Jennifer Doris to the Arts and Humanities Commission. It's always good when the committee steps up to the plate. Ms. Groth, I've been out there, it's amazing. I went with kids and we got to do both, the star watching. So it's always a good time. I'll be out there on the 4th. Thank you for the invite. I do want to congratulate all the winners, nominees for the best of tonight. I know 2 of our own, Mayor Pro Tem Gray will be there tonight, and Councilwoman Sarah Pacheco will be there tonight. So congratulations. And finally, I want to thank PAC 431 for coming out tonight. Always a pleasure, and y'all look amazing in your uniforms. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benning. Humphreys.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to thank Jennifer Doris for stepping up to serve on our Arts and Humanities Commission, and we now have a full commission, yay. And then I wanted to thank Public Works for following up with the request that the citizens brought to you earlier in the year about the shelter and the bench at Hobby Lobby. I saw a different bench that wasn't metal and holding on to heat and burning people's butts. So that was nice. And a nice new shelter. And I think Mike told me that the bench is made from recycled plastic, and I thought that was cool. So thank you for following up with that. And yeah, congratulations to our 2 council members for, well, it's Sarah Pacheco, and I understand your son's, his shop had made it in the top 3 for Game Store. So congratulations to them. I hope you have fun tonight. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Humphrey. Mrs. Pacheco.
Okay. I'll be shorter. So I just wanted to also mention good luck to all the top 3 nominees, and congratulations to those getting, awarded tonight at Best of Sierra Vista. Everything from best Mexican restaurant to best burger in town, and all those kinds of awards. So it'll be a fun time, and then pick up the Herald tomorrow morning and you'll see who won if you aren't there tonight. So I also want to give kudos to the school district who held their annual breakfast. I attended that breakfast this last week, and I guess it was a week prior, but since the last meeting, and they had some good news to share and some things that they're working on, and I was impressed by the presentation. Up 700 students in Sierra Vista, over 700, that's a big jump. So, and that most of them showed up over the summer, and they had to figure out what to do. So anyway, some good news to share at the district, and it was a good presentation, so I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Pacheco. Mayor Pro Tem Gray.
Mr. Mayor, I'd first like to say thank you, Jan, for coming, and I'll tell a story about Jan. So my husband and I bought a house about a little over a year ago, and I bought it originally, it has a magnolia tree in the front yard, and those know that I'm from Mississippi, so that sold it almost immediately. But it's full of roses and fruit trees, and I was very overwhelmed and had no idea, once we got in the house, how to take care of all that. So Mr. Les from ACE told me to call Miss Jan, and she came over and spent quite a bit of time, walked me through every plan. I had pages of notes, and I have to say, my yard has never looked prettier. Those roses, I'm so proud of those roses. So thank you, and I'm sure the gardens are just as pretty. On a little more somber note, I would like to say I am disappointed in the vote on the mural tonight, only because I constantly hear from commissioners who ask me their role, who ask me if the council actually listens to them. And while we do, and we're not always going to agree, I find that more and more council is voting not to go along with the recommendations of our commissioners. And in my mind, it's no wonder that we have problems finding commissioners on some commissions. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start by saying I completely disagree with your last statement. I think we do listen. We have to make independent judgments, and sometimes that causes us to have a difference of opinion between us and the commission. Plus, we're in a different position. We're not volunteers. We're elected officials, so there's a lot of things that go into that as well. I want to thank Jan Groth for being here. I will mention, too, that at the garden, they have they know about desert plants. And if you want looking for something in your yard that's not going to use a lot of water, which we all should be doing, they're the experts to go to and say what still looks pretty, what still flowers, what can we be water-wise on as far as watering goes. So it's worth going out there just to visit and talk to them and find out what's appropriate for your yard. So Jan, I thank you and your group. With that, I want to thank the commissioners for their work on the art project and the staff for their preparation for tonight. Seeing nothing else before the council, meeting's adjourned.